Your next vehicle from Community Motors of Mason City.
Great service from 3 locations. Community on Monroe, Community Motors Westside, and Mason City Ford. 10 new franchises and hundreds of vehicles to give you more choices. Plus, Community offers an exclusive 3-3 warranty on pre-owned vehicles and 10-year, 250,000-mile warranty on new. Need more reasons why? Stop or visit CommunityAutoGroup.com.
Because nobody beats a community deal.
We think the voters have the right to have a little nicer than we do, almost, during the election season. We're meeting in here this morning. At this time, it's October 30th, 9:45. I'll open Cerro County Board of Supervisors weekly meeting. Item 1 and item 2 is the agenda and the minutes from last week's meeting.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd move the agenda for today and the minutes of last Tuesday's meeting, the 23rd of October.
Okay,
And I'll second it.
okay, we got a motion second to approve the agenda for this morning and the minutes from last Tuesday's meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to new business. County engineer will not be here this morning. She's at another meeting. I don't think we have any updates on anything right at the moment, so we'll move on to item B, county auditor.
I have got the claims for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman, if you find everything in order, I'd make a motion to approve and authorize your signature if needed.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion second to approve the claims this morning as presented and authorize the chair to sign where needed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, payroll.
We've got payroll for the week ending 10/20 for your consideration.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, if you find everything in order, I'd make a motion to accept the payroll warrant report as October 20th.
Second.
okay, we got a motion second to approve the payroll warrant report for October 20th. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
Then I've got one new employee, Robert Norman, coming on as an assistant county attorney with a salary of $47,038.
Okay, we got a new employee in the county attorney's office, Robert Norman.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, we do resolution 2012 number 103.
I'll second said resolution 103.
Okay, we got a motion second to resolution 2012-103 for a new employee, Robert Norman, in the attorney's office, in the county attorney's division. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any,
That will be all.
no drainage?
No drainage.
Moving on to item C, Personnel Director. Presentation by the employer's response to the PPME proposal and the county official proposal to the courthouse employees. Tom,
I'll go ahead and hand both of these out.
okay? And the other one is for the roadworks.
Yes. Need a copy of these back.
That'd be great.
All right. Am I forgetting anyone?
Oh, Mike.
I thought it was just an agreement.
No. All right, we'll start with the courthouse. In the first section, this is our response to the union's proposals, requesting a new article entitled longevity, adding basically longevity steps at 20 years and every 5 years thereafter, of an additional 50 cents upon completion of each step. Our response is the employer chooses to maintain the current pay schedule without the longevity steps. In letter B, the union proposed a 5% increase effective July 1 of each of the next 4 years. The county rejects 5% increase, but we will discuss wages and length of contract as mandatory, subject to bargaining under Iowa Code Section 20.9. The county then proposes its changes to the current contract. In the section 12.01 regarding leaves of absences, the county proposes that the paragraph states that if an employee does not return from an unpaid leave of absence, they will be considered to have voluntarily quit. Right now, the contract states that they will, their employment will have been considered to be terminated. We're just changing the terminology there. With regards to health insurance, in Article 19.01, the county proposes to remove the caps on employee contributions towards family health insurance in this section. Then the employee contribution towards family insurance would be 20% of the family premium minus the $100 per month flexible benefit dollars provided by the county, and that would be the same as what non-bargaining employees pay right now. In Article 19.07, another change to health insurance benefits. Right now, health insurance benefits, an employee who averages 32 hours a week is considered full-time. For purposes of health insurance benefits, that would change to 30 hours per week to comply with the Affordable Care Act, and so that's a federal requirement that we have to meet. And then in Article 20.01, we list the flexible benefits that employees may obtain under the contract. We're simply adding accident indemnity insurance to the list of benefit options in that article. We added that as an option to employees back in 2010 or 2011. And then moving on to the road workers. Responding to the union's proposals, they proposed increasing the safety equipment allotment from $150 a year to $300 a year, including that not only be used for eye examinations, safety glasses, or safety shoes, which it is now, but adding clothing to that, and allowing that $900 a year could be accumulated over a period of 3 years to purchase those items. Our response is that the employer chooses to maintain the current contract language. In Article 2701, the union asked for a 5% increase each year on July 1. Again, we reject the 5% increase, but we will discuss wages and length of contract as a mandatory subject to bargaining under Iowa Code Section 20.9. The county's proposed changes to the current contract are to, in Article 1703, replace the existing language with language that any employee uses personal leave for certain reasons. Generally, that's illness or illness of a family member 4 times in any portion of separate days in a rolling 12-month period has to furnish a doctor's excuse. In letter B, we're proposing the same as we did with the courthouse to remove the caps on employee contributions towards family health insurance, go with a straight 20% minus $100 per month in flexible benefit dollars to be the same as non-bargaining employees. Letter C, propose to do the same as in the courthouse contract and add accident indemnity insurance to the list of benefit options in that article. And then number 3 is just to correct an oversight that we missed in the current contract. We had a side letter back in 2006 that allowed comp time to be accumulated up to 60 hours. We missed that in the last contract, and that contract still says 45 hours. And so we're just asking to correct that oversight. That's the way that we currently administer it in the auditor's office, and it's consistent with the courthouse contract and the employee handbook for non-bargaining employees. Again, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, our scope of negotiations is limited this time around by the contract to wages, insurance, and then one topic of interest to each party. We're just simply presenting our proposals today in accordance with Iowa Code Section 20.17. No actions required on your part.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Is there any questions? Okay, moving on. Mike, you don't have any questions?
No, I understand where it's coming
I would
from.
imagine, I would imagine.
After all these years, I expect.
I've seen it once or twice before.
Second time? Second time? Okay, moving on to item D, County Treasurer. Motion to suspend second half FY11 taxes in the amount of $126 pursuant to section 427.9 for Gerald Perry, 212 20th Street, Southeast Mason City.
DHS has made the recommendation, just asking for your acceptance of their recommendation to place them in suspension.
Okay. What are your wishes?
I would motion in favor of suspending these taxes.
I'd second.
Okay, we got a motion second to suspend the taxes for Gerald Perry at 212 20th Street Southeast Mason City. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor said motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, consider waiving payment in lieu of taxes for AY 2011 on parcel 06-07-430-001-00 for the North Iowa Regional Housing Authority and authorize the chair to sign. Right here, okay. Well, this is the one they brought in here a week ago. I see we've all read the letter and everything. What's your wishes?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to waive those taxes and authorize your signature where appropriate.
Okay,
Okay, I'll second that.
okay, we got a motion second to waive the taxes and authorize the chair to sign where appropriate. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll move on to item E, manure management plan. As normal, I'm the one that checks that out. I like to check all that stuff out. And I read through it, and it's a plan that, as far as I'm concerned, all we need to do is accept and send a copy to the DNR. So I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion second to accept the manure management plan for Elk Run Farms and send a copy to the DNR. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on down to item F, agreements and contracts.
I've done.
Okay, moving on to item G, appointments. Have
This
none.
time.
Okay, moving on to item H, correspondence and communications. I'd like to introduce Mike O'Donnell from Iowa State Extension and Outreach. Brett, would you like to?
Sure.
Give us a little background?
Yeah, Mike is, as Chairman Amison said, is with Iowa State University Center for Industrial Research. And we are, the corridor is partnering with Mike and some of his colleagues and his department in what will be a year-long process to first assess the condition of the economy in Cerro Gordo County as it relates to specifically the sustainability of the existing economy as it stands today, and to work to reveal, and Mike's going to get into this, work to reveal opportunities latent in the economy specific to innovation, working with our existing industry. And so Mike's the expert here. He's here to address you, talk about some things that we're going to be working on together, specifically with his office and an upcoming summit that we have next week. So, Mike?
Sure. I'm gonna pass these along here. These are just kind of quick flyers that'll give you guys an idea. I think there's one there.
I can share with
Okay.
you.
What we're doing next week. There you go. So this is a program that, as Brent mentioned, I'm from Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. My specific group is called the Center for Industrial Research and Service. What we are is we are the Extension and Outreach arm of the College of Engineering. This is a program that is called the Sustainable Economies Program. It's funded by the EDA and by state funding that we get through Extension and Outreach. And our goal under this program is to help what we call regional trade centers, which are small to mid-sized cities throughout the state, take a factual look at the data that really describes how your economy is performing today, and to help you make better decisions for the long run in your economy. So what we're going to do next week is kind of have our big kickoff to this program, and it's called the Sustainable Economy Summit. And what we're going to do is provide over 100 indicators of financial, social, and environmental well-being about Cerro Gordo County, and also an assessment of the overall economics of the county, which is kind of a traditional economic assessment. From there, kind of the first half of the day is us doing a lot of data dumping and a couple presentations about different ways to look at the data and different things you can do with it. Towards the end of the day, we're going to transition from us telling you things to you guys starting to work together as an overall group to say, where do we go from here? What's this mean? What are different ways we can take our existing programs and kind of work together towards a better long-term, more sustainable future? In parallel, we'll also start kicking off working with businesses throughout the county to say, okay, given where you are today, where are there opportunities to use innovation, and what does innovation actually look like, and what's a systematic way to do that to help you as a business grow also. So the goal here is to work both with the regional economy and with businesses to say, okay, look at where you are now, we're going to give you a bunch of different tools to help you grow into the future. That's kind of the key points about it. I guess I'd rather just have this be a discussion, or you guys ask any questions that you guys would like to know.
So next week is the kickoff, and
Next
it'll take
week.
about a year.
Yeah, the key, what you'll see is some major activities next week, obviously. Then for the next 2 to 3 months, you'll see a lot of us in the area. We'll be doing planning sessions. We have a variety of different tools that we use to help people kind of get together and coalesce around some major themes and goals. And our goal is over that year is to slowly transition from us teaching you things to you guys taking things and running with it. So the program runs through next July. Overall, our funding ends at the end of July. And our goal will be to, by the time the program ends, for you guys to be running with the programs and doing things on your own. Obviously, Extension and Outreach doesn't leave in July. We're still here, so obviously we'll still have people around to help in our normal capacity. It's just that focused effort will fade away.
How many people get involved in this, you think?
The summit itself, the last 2 summits that we've done have had 65 in the first one and 80 in the second, I think. So it's a fairly large group of people. Our goal is to get as diverse of a representation of your economy as possible in that summit. So businesses, nonprofit groups, formal and informal leaders in the county and the cities in the county, you name it, just people who are interested. And we've had a fairly good representation at the past 2 that we've had. As of yesterday afternoon, I think we had 32 or 33 people signed up, which is about where we want to be. So we'll expect another 40 or 50 to sign up in the next several days here, so.
You have the term sustainable growth in your document. Talk a little bit about that.
Whenever we say sustainability, people tend to just assume we're talking about green and stuff like that. So the first comment we always make is this is not a green program. This is a program to help you say, what do we need to do to make sure that when we grow today, we're not impacting our ability to grow tomorrow, and vice versa. We're not shortcoming ourselves today so that we can grow in the future. So we use sustainability and sustainable growth. There's a definition from what's called the Brundtland Commission, which is back in the 80s, that says essentially sustainable growth is the ability to grow and develop today without impacting the ability of future generations to also grow and develop. So that's the general approach that we take there. What we find is when you look at growth, people tend to only look at the financial side of things. Just like as a business, you look at your bottom line and you say, am I growing or am I not? What we've learned is that the better way to do is to look broader and look at the financial, social, and environmental issues that impact your ability to grow. And then as a broad brush say, okay, across the board, what could be limiting our growth? So it could be social issues, it could be environmental issues. One of the things we saw, the first county we did this in was Carroll. One of the things we saw immediately when we looked at those indicators was that water quality and water availability were potential long-term impediments to growth for them. So that was one of the initial things that we swung over to, because Carroll as a city is doing very, very well. Their unemployment's right around 4%, a little under, yet they have some long-term risks that they need to worry about. So it's more of a step back and say, okay, what's it gonna look like in the long run, 20 years from now, and what do you need to work on now? Does that make sense? Is that?
Yeah, and it looks like you're really kind of throwing the doors open to everyone to participate.
Yes.
To encourage participation from everyone, because you know what you're really talking about is getting a broad sampling of the community on a various number of issues, I would think.
Yep, and not to be too engineering geeky here, but one of the things that we always look at is when you're dealing with complex problems like where's a whole city going to be in 20 years, there are mathematicians and statisticians out there that have proven that a diverse group always comes up with a better answer than a simple group of people who are really smart. So our goal is to get as much diversity in this process so that all of these opinions and potential ideas are taken into consideration and people move together in a smarter way. So
I think that's a great approach, because when you have an echo chamber, in effect, you have like minds meeting together on a subject. You're not going to develop the kind of broad-based ideas that you need to really move your community forward.
Correct.
I think we're familiar with the traditional demographic studies, community facilities type inventories. What sort of unique data are you gathering as part of this in this particular program?
So what you're going to see is some of the traditional economic analysis up front. So what are your commuting patterns? What do your demographics look like? All that type of stuff. Behind that is a set of 100 or so indicators that we have a fairly unique approach to this. So what we're going to do is show you things that you've probably seen before. Some of them are simple things like the unemployment rate. What we're going to do is we're going to show them in a speedometer style chart that compare you to the other 40 regional trade centers throughout the state. So there's 40 other cities that are between about 6,000 and 50,000 people that are more or less your peers throughout the state. So we're going to put you up in competition against them and show you kind of in almost a red, yellow, green speedometer chart where you stand on that. When you see that for broad groups, you can get some pretty clear indications of where your strengths and weaknesses are, and it's a really interesting way to approach that. So some of the data is going to be things that you've never seen before and never probably dug deep enough to look at. Some of it's going to be old data presented in a different way to help you both dig really, really deep on some specific data sets, and also at a broad brush look at 100 indicators in a whole, you'll see rows of red, yellow, and green, and you can very quickly look at it and say, oh, there's my problem. So that's really what you're gonna see.
Okay. Any other questions? Mike,
Great.
sounds very interesting.
Thanks for having us, and please spread the word. Everybody who's interested in attending, please attend. It's most of the day. Lunch is included, no cost to sign up, so,
Okay, okay, sounds good.
thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Is there any other correspondence communications this morning? Okay, I'd ask the item is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Again, thank you people for, it's a little bit crowded in here, but it's better than having to go out to the law enforcement center or something
Go
like that.
outside.
Yeah, so, thanks for coming.